So I spoke in part one about some elements of the states of consciousness, and I have to address these states a little bit more to really make any sense. Again, I'm breaking these up into three states primarily. So there's the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state. I addressed somewhat the deep sleep state, and in Buddhist tradition, again, that's sort of called the ground of all being, or suchness, or these sorts of things. But remember, those kind of notions were still framed mostly within a mythological culture. They didn't have these sort of advancements of a rationalist culture in the sense that we could use things like brain-mind technologies or EEGs to understand what's going on in the brain. So these are correlative, right? There's actually a phenomenological experience inside the subject's mind, and then these have, biological correlates, things that happen in the physiological body, and that can be mapped through our technologies, and our value systems have to navigate this to make any sense of it. So that's something that our culture doesn't do a very good job of, is navigating what these sort of traditions might have as gold nuggets. Instead, it's often reduced to, put frankly, sort of the New Age nutcases or the kind of traditional nutcases, and it doesn't leave much ground for some place in which you can integrate the nuggets of gold within those traditions, and connect them in and with our best science. And then furthermore, and this is my own take, our best science from the top down is puppeted to some degree by corporate establishments and government establishments, so that it's steered in avenues that may not allow us to really deepen our understanding of reality in certain domains, particular self-understanding, and I think the enhanced value understanding, wherein life has deep meaning, has been somewhat repressed in and through the power establishment. Anyway, so there's this waking state awareness that we all have a general consciousness of. The sleeping state is something that it seems to me all mammals have access to. When you look at a dog and they're sleeping, and they might be twitching, it's like they're running or they're chasing some animal. And I've seen cats do similar things. So what I'm arguing for, and this seems to make a fair bit of sense, again, connected to the Turin brain theory, which says we have three different brains. So we have the reptilian brainstem, the mammalian limbic system. Again, these are expressed in this brain, like as sheaths in the brain, in a sense. The neocortex, the reptilian brainstem going up there, and then the mammalian limbic system has, again, the expression there. So I'm saying that mammals have access to a dream life wherein they can objectify self in relation to other, and that by doing that they have a learning experience in and through emotive reality. Their emotions are allowing them to have novelty in when they re-enter waking state. Humans have both that capacity, which we gain novelty from, but also this witnessing awareness, which allows us to be self-reflexive of reality, and thereby have an even deeper degree of change capabilities. By objectifying, this cup, I can make claims about it, and furthermore, I can alter it in ways that an average mammal just can't do. So these different states of consciousness then seem to have this developmental component, in my opinion, again connected to the reptilian brainstem, the mammalian limbic system, and the neocortex, so that a reptile only has really access to the waking state, maybe the hypnagogic state, kind of sleeping, but not really. The mammal has access to both the waking state and the sleeping REM state. And then humans have access to waking state, dreaming REM state, and deep sleep state, all three. Simultaneously connecting that to the quadrant theory. So I, we, it, and its. I is the eye of the beholder, my thoughts, feelings, emotions, broadly speaking, my internal experience. We is that shared landscape of values, meaning, culture. It is the objective landscape, behaviorism, science. Its is systems theory, chaos theory, and so forth. Autopoetic happenings. So I'm saying that there's a fractal pattern in the evolutionary process. So an example is in the human domain, those 4 levels: red, amber, orange, and green, and/or egocentric, ethnocentric, world-centric, and sort of planet-centric, are expressions of I, amber, or I, red, egocentric, it's for me. We, amber, we create absolute culture, which absolutely all people must follow. It, the great reasoning enlightenment, and its sort of the postmodern revolution, relativism. So these have sort of historical correlates, of course. Red came online maybe 10,000 years ago, amber 5,000, orange 300 years ago, green 30 years ago. So there's an exponential increase in consciousness in that sense. So we have those paralleling the I, we, it, and its. I hope that makes sense. It's tough. This is a lot of different concepts being thrown together. And so the states of consciousness, I believe, can be objectified the humans, with our self-reflexive ability, can objectify all of those different states. And that's an evolutionary process. So you're going through, to some degree, the process of objectifying this waking state, which is sometimes considered sort of early shamanism, early yogic realization. And so it's sort of a nature mysticism where your waking self and those natural, usually plant life and other humans, sort of seem to merge physiologically. You kind of lose a sense of where I end and where it begins. The deeper sleeping state is sort of the lucid dream state, where you might merge with what seems to be a god in whatever tradition you're accompanied in, if you have a tradition, or just light, or you. But there's an upward flow, sometimes considered sort of the saintly movement, and then the gross or causal experience is sort of grand opening from which all things arise, and you just witness it. And those are happening and reflections of reptile, mammal, and human in a sense. And then there would be a fourth emergent state, because I'm saying states are actually emergent. So I'll leave it there. There's much more that could be said.